Howdy, howdy, and welcome to My Bloody Judy with your final forgets, myself, Zachary Patton Garcia.
And Ian Carlos Crawford.
Yes, smile. Number two. Smile two. Smile twice. Extra big smiles. Did you see that they have, you can watch like the first 7 minutes, but you have to smile throughout it? We should have done this.
We should have. It's only 7 minutes.
But copyright, right. It would ruin our entire month.
Yes, it would.
We are here to talk about Smile 2, though. We're back with My Bloody Judy. Hello. Welcome.
We're back.
We
We're
are back. But there's been so much that we were going to cover. We were actually going to do an episode covering all of the stuff that came out during the summer, and we didn't end up doing it. It just like never.
I meant to bring that up
hit,
because I was like, I feel like we should still do that.
We can, and we're gonna have to do like an end of year one. And
yeah, maybe we'll just wait
till just been great. The past couple years, horror's just been great, and we have one of the best, if not the best, of the year that we're talking about today. Would you say it's the best horror movie of the year, or would you?
No,
what?
I would say it's one of the best performances.
Which one would you say is the best?
I think Longlegs still hits the hardest for me. But this is like this Longlegs, I think, and Smile 2 are both very stressful, but Longlegs actually scared me more. Smile 2, and this isn't a derogatory thing. That's how I tend to react to horror, where I get more like anxious, not like scared. That's not a critique. I love this movie. But Longlegs scared me more.
Different type of scary. Yes. Yeah. Longlegs did scare me more. And I think I agree with you. This one didn't
but we mean it complimentary.
I have to talk about Skinamarink, okay? And I told Ian about this not too long ago, but it has been on my mind for like the past 2 weeks. And I had nightmares last night, but I haven't watched it again. I have no desire to watch this movie again, but I am like so obsessed with the lore of Skinamarink or like what it means. And so I watch theory videos a lot, and there's a lot more now that we're like a year out from it.
Yeah.
And I had nightmares last night. I had nightmares that it was more like it felt like a lucid dream or something. I don't know. But I like in the dream, I like woke up and I was still in my bed and I just looked over and there was, it might have been a little bit of sleep paralysis mixed in with it. That the face without any features was like sticking out from my closet and fucking scared the shit out of me. And I woke up and I had to like come and sit in the living room for a little bit. And
I get like that. Yeah.
Fucking man. But like Skinamarink scares the shit out of me. A Smile doesn't really scare me, but I like Smile more. I think Smile's fun, and
yes.
I would watch. I think I would watch this one again. I actually wanted to watch this one again before we recorded, and didn't make it out to the theater.
Zach, I just feel like normally I'm the one with that like fully brings up something that is like
it's cursed.
So I appreciate
Skinamarink has a curse on it. Something is baked into the film of that movie that there's something not right about it. There's something wrong. And
it is. Skinamarink is the only movie I've fallen asleep to. I think like maybe
I fell asleep too. We all three were falling asleep in shifts during that movie. Does not need to ever be that long. Never need to watch that movie again. I was so pissed after the first 5 minutes that I could tell this was gonna be it.
It was my birthday gift.
And it is still one of those movies that we were able to, I think you and I even talked like an hour to an hour and a half about it, because it is one of those that just has, you can come up with a lot of things to say about it. That the director might not have even intended, but fucking scares the shit out of me. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about Smile 2. And again, love this movie. This is like one of my favorites of the year. And I think like what you said, Naomi Scott's performance in this movie has to be top 5, at least top 5, but I would even say top 3 of the past 10 years, like horror performances.
I would agree with that. It's the performance I feel like is what made the movie, and it could have like broken it if it was like a not as good actor. I feel like a lot of what also I gotta point out, she cries the exact same way on screen that Sarah Michelle Gellar cries.
Yes, didn't she?
Yes.
Okay, they open their eyes big. They take a lot of you can see their technique doing it. Also, I've recently seen, not to like cut you off, we'll circle back. Okay, follow my train of thought. I've seen Sarah talk about recently her daughter wanting to get into acting, and she's like, "You're not going to be able to do it until you're 18. This is just our rules for you and getting in the business and stuff like that." But I'm like, I really want somebody to ask her, do you help your daughter with acting techniques? And if you do you help her learn how to cry. I want to know if they sit like with each other in the bedroom or in the backyard or
She's like,
something,
no,
and she's
stare
like,
harder.
"Open your eyes, really let the air hit your eyes." And does Charlotte know how to do the Sarah Michelle Gellar cry? Because Naomi Scott knows how to do the Sarah Michelle Gellar cry.
She real like there's one scene where it's like we stay on her lawn while her eyes are wide and she's just like staring, and I was like, this looks like Sarah Michelle Gellar. This is wild how much this looks like Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Hmm.
And I want you to know that I was like, I think Zach will know what I'm talking about. Like I
Yes,
didn't think anyone else would
absolutely.
know what I was talking about.
It is a it's letting the air touch your eyes. Your eyes have to be open so that it like waters your eyes, but then there's also like this breathing thing that they do, I notice, to make the tears come a little bit like quicker, I guess. I will say that I think Naomi Scott, we're not comparing them, but I think Naomi Scott is like really great especially in this movie I don't know if I've ever seen her in anything else. I didn't watch the live action Aladdin, but like I figured out that she was in that. But
Yeah,
she is
I saw her in
so
Power Rangers.
great with I didn't watch that one either.
I love that
But
movie.
Naomi Scott is so great with tapping into like 'cause they write on the page that this character is meant to be Sky Riley is meant to have a really it's even in some of the songs have a really messy mind, really chaotic mind, and is kind of spiraling at all times. I don't think another actress could have brought that to this role and like let us physically see it because there was not a moment she wasn't on screen where I didn't feel the chaos and the spiral, and I was like, girl, know exactly how that feels right there.
You on calls with
I
me.
relate to that so fucking hardcore.
I she just So also the thing I read an interview with her where she said she wanted to make sure that I forget the exact word. I wish I had kept it the link or something, but like she wanted to make sure it wasn't they were parodying a pop star. It was like she was straightforward playing a pop star with like a messy life, and she was not in any way. She was like it was very important to her that they weren't like mocking
Yeah.
that. And I feel like that shows in her acting, right? Like there's never a moment when it's like, oh, stupid pop star. It's like, no, this is terrible, and she's famous, and it makes it worse because there's so many people around her all the time. Um,
Yes.
and I feel like they did more than they needed to do. I feel like not a lot of horror movies would have put that much thought into the pop star's life, their backstory, and their songs, which were good. Like,
A little iffy on the songs.
oh, I
They
like the
haven't like really
songs.
stuck with me. I don't remember them all
That
that
one
well.
song when she's doing the choreography that like stuck in my head.
Hmm.
But like, you know what I mean? They wrote them. They weren't like making fun of it. They weren't like, and I feel like that brings a different level of quality to the movie. It
Yes.
brings a different level of like realness where you're not like, oh, well, they're making fun of this. I feel like that would have taken me out, right? Like if I wouldn't have been as stressed if it was like they're mocking pop stars.
Yes. I think the way they I guess we can just talk about Sky Riley all the way around then since we're kind of already on her. But they do pop star really well. If there's anything I know in life, if there's anything I'm hyper obsessed over, is a pop star. And they do it like to a T correctly. They do the fact that she has a lot of people relying on her, which just adds all of this pressure. A lot of people relying on that paycheck from her shows. All of the crew. Um, Her mom is that sort of typical stage mom that you see. She is like physically falling apart, but it's just from the inside
Right.
out. But it
Yeah.
like manifests through things like she's got that coping mechanism that her therapist said to do was just drinking the water, but then she overdoes it because she just like guzzles the water and the entire bottle is gone. Or
Yeah.
she's pulling her hair out and learning that her hair is short because she probably just fucking pulled it all out and
Yeah.
had to have a short haircut, right?
And the first one for me didn't feel like anything that like I know a lot. I mean, a lot of people would disagree with us though. A lot of people like really loved it, thought it was like something
Yeah.
new. So, but it felt like a retread of like the idea isn't that okay, there's something following them that they can't get away from. That is not a new
Hmm.
idea, right? And that's okay. We don't need to reinvent the wheel, but we need to do it well when we're like using the same wheel.
Yeah.
And I think one was fine. I think it was fine. The only scene I like remember being scared at was when the therapist is like walking towards her and then the therapist is leaving her a voicemail at the same time, so she realizes it's not her.
Hmm.
Um, but I think this like automatically made it new because we I can't think of a horror movie centered around, we got Trap earlier this year, but
Which is still a wonderful movie. I loved Trap. I had so much fun
right.
at Trap.
We had fun talking about, but you know what I mean? It's not
Yeah.
this. It's not. And she's not really the main focus the entire time. She's
Yeah.
only the main focus for like
I don't know. That's
one of the
debatable,
movies.
actually, after watching it.
You know what I
She does
mean?
turn up in all the scenes.
But you know what I mean? She's not like, we're
Yes.
not, it's not her point of view. This is
Yes.
Sky Riley's point of view. I think that automatically makes it different, but I think that makes it harder to sell because like people don't sympathize with someone who's famous very often. And people can be really like,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, you're rich and famous, who cares about a lot of that stuff. So I think it was important that they did give it like there was a messy thing that happened beforehand, before the
Yeah.
movie started, which I think was really important to make us, I felt bad for her. Even when we found out why it happened, I still felt bad. She still like survived this terrible thing. They were like,
Yeah.
she was an addict and this fucking horrible thing happened. And then she's going through this horrible thing. And I think she just sold all of it so well, which I don't know that would happen every with.
It wouldn't have happened with any other actress. Or very few actresses could
Yeah.
have done this because the way this character is written is so unlikable, and she is because she it like when you're sitting in that high of a tower with all of these people doting on you, and you have so many yes people and stuff like that. Like when we drop into the movie, she's like very much over it all, but she just doesn't know how to remove herself from it.
Yeah.
But it does have like it, especially how young this character probably is supposed to be. It changes your whole brain chemistry, you know? Like she is a brat, and when she contacts her friend, the only time she's contacting her friend is when she's starting to unravel again, right? Why didn't you contact your friend and apologize beforehand? No, because you're still a little bit self-centered. You're still a little bit selfish. And we were me and Ian were talking about this not too long ago, right before this recording actually, about a final girl, but follow me here. I know she's not a final girl. But a main character that is just has more on the page than your Julie James or your who else did we say? Sidney Prescott in Scream 1, right? Is that kind of what you were likening it
Yeah.
to?
Yeah. And we both love Sydney. It's not a
Yes,
derogatory.
yes.
Yeah.
But she's her first runaround with the being a final girl. Same with Laurie Strode. First runaround, there's
Right.
not the most to them, right? They're not the most seasoned as these main characters.
And you even saying that, I remember when we had Cynthia Bergstrom on, who
Mm.
did the costume designer from Scream 1, she actually specifically said they styled Sydney to try to be more of like an everyday girl
Yes.
and not like so flashy because they wanted the audience to like feel like, oh, this could be me. And they don't try to do that at all with this. And that's why I really like this.
Hmm.
And again, nothing derogatory towards Sydney. We love her. So it's
Nothing
not.
towards to Sydney, towards Laurie, towards the acting, towards anything like that. But that is how your first main character introduction is usually written,
Yeah.
right? It is like a little bit softer, a little bit like figuring myself out as a person, haven't done that and stuff like that. We're dropped into Sky Riley's, and she is already fucked up. We're dropped into a
The
sort
third
of
act of
like
her life,
Britney
basically.
2007 moment, like 2008, the January of 2008. It's that is
I love that
and
you
it's
know the
something that
month.
we're all able to recognize, like when we see that in the tabloids and stuff like that. So it's a very like recognizable thing that we've just never experienced or have experienced it in a different way. But I like that we're dropped in there and it's not her like unraveling and nobody knows it. It's like everybody feels on edge around her. She feels on edge around
I'd say,
everybody
yeah.
else. So we drop into the movie and it's already, we'll talk about Kyle Gallner in
I do
a
want to talk
bit.
about that opening. Yeah.
Yes, but like when we drop into her story, we're already on edge before she ever sees somebody smile. I feel awkward. I feel uncomfortable in her world. And the way she acts towards some people, the way her story is like unfolded throughout the whole course of the movie, and we kind of get more bits of what's happening in the car accident, and then ultimately realize that she is the whole cause for that car accident, that she took the wheel and like completely drove them off the cliff is so unlikable that bringing it back, another actress may not have been able to do it, but Naomi Scott fully makes you. I'm like in love with this character because of Naomi Scott.
Yeah. No, I love her. And I mean, I even feel bad for her when like, I feel bad for her the whole movie, even if she's unlikable. And I do think to our credit, I do think you and I are a little bit like better at being like, yeah, they're unlikable, but I can still feel bad for them. But like,
Mhm.
even though she's unlikable, I liked her. That like
Well,
I
and I'm
did like
saying
her.
written unlikably,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like she is likable. Like by the end product, she is likable, but like what could have been on the page and what some other actress could have
Yes.
done with her could have very much made her just like, why do I care? Why do I care about this person? Like you were sort of talking about earlier, why do I care about what a pop star's going through, or somebody
Right,
this
yeah.
rich and famous and stuff like that? But like Naomi Scott's performance just brings this. You do care. She is likable. She is like done some fucked up shit that she should be sorry for. And she keeps telling us throughout the movie, I should be sorry. I have things to atone
She
for,
does.
blah,
She
blah, blah,
really
blah, blah.
does.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, girl, you were going through it. It's okay. And then
Yeah.
she did that thing with the car. And I'm like, oh,
Like, oh, you did. Oh,
oh, you
no.
killed somebody. um, but like you watch her and I'm like, my heart is breaking for her. She better make it to the end. I need her to carry at least three of these movies, you know?
Yeah, I do think that was their like biggest that's my biggest critique of the movie is like that was a misstep, I think, because
Yeah.
it felt like, oh, but we already did that, so we could do something different where she maybe makes it maybe is miserable, but like makes it
Because if there is a character that you're wanting to like change up the formula with, this would be the one
right.
to do it with, right?
Yeah.
Like the last one, I think was a great introductory to Smile. Love the actress who did the last one. She did a fantastic performance and stuff like that, but it just felt like okay. I don't know if I'd rewatch it. It's cool movie, cool concept. This one, I absolutely know I'll rewatch it. Have a fun time watching it. Naomi Scott's performance really again is just it is. I'm trying to think of like because obviously past 10 years. Tony Collette, Hereditary, you just can't beat that.
I
Who
do
else
think
did
it's
we
like
have?
almost on that level though. I do.
It is, but I don't think that one would beat it for me. But I
No, no,
think
no.
top
I
three, I don't think she has like a whole lot of people in front of her. I think this is like one of those standout horror performances. And it is just like a little disappointing that they went with this ending because maybe they didn't recognize it, but I feel like when you're in the presence of that kind of greatness, you have to recognize it.
I mean, to be honest, my worry is where can we go from here? Is a worry I have with like a third one because I'm like,
Yeah.
and they have to be in like a post-apocalyptic world because like the smile creature is taking over half the like
I saw a
it's
TikTok with somebody saying that what if they are, or it turns into a pandemic and everybody has to stay in their houses
that's what I think
because
it and I don't want that.
I don't want that either. I want
More of this type of horror.
and you know what? This world, you can convince me. And I thought I was going crazy this entire movie. So you can tell me that the end of Smile 2 was fake, and I will believe it, and it's fine. We can erase it. And um and then let her go meet up with that guy and be like, yes, let's kill me for real this time. Let's like
Yes.
really try to stop this thing.
Yeah.
Give me at least one more movie. At least let her lead two movies, and then you can kill her off if you want to, right? Just like, sure. But she's way
Also,
too good to like not lead
also, I
that
did
next
think
one.
I did think the death was corny. I did. I did not.
Oh, yes. Oh.
Right.
No. All you
I was
needed to
like,
do was remove that one shot and kind of leave it open to interpretation. Just have
yes,
like
I think that would have been better. Yeah.
just the audience screaming
Because the
and you
shot looked
don't know.
goofy,
And
right?
then decide later, right?
Yeah.
Decide later. And because like I don't know. I'm like trying to put myself on set and it's like, y'all were watching her. I get that you want the series is just bleak. It's a bleak franchise. It's a bleak concept. But like you're watching her and you're like, oh well, let's not have her lead the next one. Let's like, reset the story again.
But also, I would argue that her surviving somehow would also change it up, like would also make it different.
Give more
Like,
story, even
so
more
I
lore.
I
Yeah.
say this a lot about found footage, right? You know, I love found footage, but I hate that it's always like you kind of assume they're all gonna die because for me, that's like it does a little bit kill some of the tension. And they tricked me here because I still had the tension. So I was like, I think she might. Like, I
I
was like,
thought
I think
so. I
I
thought
thought
so.
because in a Smile One, I knew that woman was never making it. I was like, this lady's gonna die. I know she's gonna die.
Mm.
Like I really I think they could have done something like, but also I do question, does that guy exist? That guy like
See,
doesn't
okay,
exist,
we this
right?
is also what we have to talk about is like what was real in this movie.
And wait, I normally I would
Yeah.
hate that. Like normally that would kill a movie for me where it's like we have 35 minutes that were like didn't happen. that would normally piss me off to no end. I'd be like, that's stupid. It all didn't happen. Are you fucking
Yeah.
kidding me? But they sold it so well. I am still annoyed that it didn't happen, but they did
Yeah.
such a good
Well, and
job
there
with
was
it.
the different, and they did the exact same thing in the first one. Like this is a copy paste. It is.
I don't even remember that they did. It was all
It's dressed up different because I think she goes to like Kyle Gallagher's apartment or something like that, and then that turns out not to be real or something like
wasn't
that.
it
I don't know.
just
It's been a
I think it
while
was just
since
that
I saw
he
the
wasn't
movie.
real, but she did because like then he meets her at the house later and he's like,
He meets her at
what are
the
you talking
house later,
about?
but I don't think she had gotten out of the house. But in the
Okay.
movie, she like escapes the house, runs away, like goes to the apartment. I don't know. Something happened. Something very much like this, right? But I feel like when I was watching the first one, it felt like I was watching all of that unfold in front of me, and this one felt like I was fucking
Yeah.
in this movie, and I was going crazy, and was like, oh shit, she killed her mom because fully believed she killed her mom. Um, I
I felt
fully
really
believed
bad
that
for
her
her.
friend was a ride or die. I'm like, this is the type of friend you need. This is a ride or die. I love that this is happening. Um, and I don't know. I think when I figured out that the friend was dead, or not dead, but that the friend had like, because I already suspected it when the friend first
Me
showed
too.
up. I
Yes.
was like, okay, well, but then the friend was in it so long that I was like,
Yes.
okay, well, maybe
I
I'm
read
wrong.
I read trivia that if you like pay attention, the mom never interacts with her. Like she says, and I did notice this. She says hi to the mom, and the mom doesn't
I just don't even
respond.
think I was paying attention for
And it
that.
because I was like, oh, the mom's so pissed. The mom's not even responding to the friend. And then it's because like every scene that the friend is in, no one interacts with the friend but Sky. And
Yeah.
I was like, thought about it, and I was like, oh yeah, that is true.
Mm. But they did convince me
Yeah.
eventually. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
she's been around long enough. She's fine. She's here. But then I was like, but they're going to use the friend somehow.
I thought she was gonna
Um,
die. I thought it was gonna be like
I thought she was either
if
going to die or I thought that some of those interactions were not going to be real, but I didn't realize the entire thing was not going to be
yeah.
real. And then when she goes and meets up with that guy that has been talking to, who's been texting her, that entire time I was like, I don't understand what it is I'm supposed to be looking out for, what is supposed to be real.
Yeah. Because
Are they in a Pizza Hut right now? Is this man real? You know, and I then, I guess none of that,
yeah, none of it.
but he has to be real
But he
because,
doesn't, right? If it's made up, he could
but then where's the lore coming from? Is it just the demon telling her the lore?
right. That's that. So again, I will say I love this movie,
Yeah.
but that is like a critique because like
I
that
don't even
does
think that's a
bother
critique for me. That
that
doesn't bother
like
me.
it bothers me a little bit, but not enough to like
Yeah.
just like I'm like I do wish there was just like there needed to be like a pinch more of something to tell us one way or the other. That guy really didn't reveal any lore other than like what we already knew, which I'm fine with. I don't
Yeah.
need came from hell. I
And
don't
then
fucking
gave us
care.
an idea. I like that he gave us an idea of how maybe we could try to stop this thing, right?
But like now I'm like, but they can't use that in 3 because they made it up. The smile demon made it up. Like,
I don't
right.
know what's happening.
But
So
also
fucking crazy.
what I thought was gonna I thought it was gonna be like he was actually just trying to capture the monster and like he was setting her. That's what I thought it was gonna be. Like when he shut that door, I was like, oh, he's leaving her
Well,
in
because
there, but
what
he
it
wants to
could
capture it.
be, it could like go all the way back to like pretty close to the beginning of the movie where she never told anybody that she didn't want to wear that costume because she's in that costume at the very end. So maybe right up until that point, that's when, like, from that point, that's when nothing is happening. Everything's in her mouth. But then I'm like, she's walking around. Is nobody's like, what are people seeing when she's walking around?
Right. Right. Because she's still going places. Like she still got to that
And
stage.
there's
So
time
like,
passing.
yeah.
So,
There is a line. There's a line somewhere. I think
mhm,
maybe that guy says it. There is a line that says like the last few days, it like fully has you and like you're going to kill yourself. And like, so I assumed that time had passed and this was like these were like the last 2 days or what he says two
yeah.
or 3 days that like it fully inhabits you until you kill yourself. Um, so like I'm assuming things did happen, but like, yeah,
But what? I need a
but
different
like, no,
cut.
I
I
mean
need a
like,
cut from everybody else's perspective, just watching her, right? It feels like Agatha Harkness all along. It's
I
just
know.
watching her act out her little TV shows while I'm, Sharon Davis living next door,
You're
watching
like,
out
oh,
my
that's just my
window.
neighbor. Yeah, that's my neighbor. She's she likes to do that. She plays pretend a lot. Um, can we talk about the opening?
Yes, let's go to Kyle Gallner.
I
Yeah.
fucking love that opening. I
Yeah.
love it so much. I think it's so well done. And I actually like love that it's high tension, but there's no monster in that opening. I kind of love it. It's like a short film.
Yeah, it is. It does really stand on its own. And I thought he was going to be more of a presence in this movie. I thought he was going to be probably in it through at least half of it. I didn't realize, it didn't even occur to me, and it should have, that he would be like an opening kill, Um, because it's him. It's him. And like, I think in all the trailers, like he was pretty in there still.
Was he?
Wasn't
I feel
he?
like I
Maybe
assumed he was
not.
dying in the
Hmm.
beginning because I didn't see him in the trailer. I
Maybe
just knew
not
he was in
then.
it.
I don't know, but I remember sitting in the theater thinking that he was gonna live a little
My
longer, that he was gonna be like the voice of somebody who knew. And mm,
well, so there's like if we were doing a rewrite, he could have been that character if it really happened. Like he could have been the character that's like, no, this is what's happening to you. I know what's happening to you because
yeah,
I've been through it. Let's try to kill you and bring you back to life. That's like he could have been that character. But I love that it's like because the tension is there. Like I was like tense through that whole opening.
yeah.
And I love that it's like weirdly like a drug dealer gone wrong move, like short film. Like that's all it is. My friend that I saw it with, boyfriend, was confused, which I was confused at first. I thought it was that like, oh, she hit him with her car. But then once
That's
we
what
got
I
more of
thought
it, I was
too
like,
when I
oh
first
no.
saw it. Yeah, because then they start alluding. Well, I think that's intentional because they start alluding to or they start talking about that car accident and that she accidentally killed somebody else. And then I'm trying to remember his name in the movie, and
Right.
I'm like, was that the name of the
Yeah.
guy who died? And then they make it clear. But I
Yeah.
absolutely thought that was, it's like, oh shit, she did that to him.
So I would have given him a better death. Like I do think like the
Oh
car's a little
no.
like,
Mm-mm.
give him cooler.
That's what I would have done.
Um,
That's what I would have done because it did. That was the first time that I was completely knocked off my feet in that movie.
well, I guess like, and I think I've said this before. A thing that bothers me with a horror movie, I don't like when they look. It felt like a cartoon, so it was like the car hit him and his body exploded, and it's like, well, that's not what happened. Like it
Well, if
would
you look
like,
at it, see, this is why we should have watched it again because when you look at it, his body was like half of his body was like dragging underneath the
yeah,
car. And you see like the entrails. There was a lot of fucking blood for a body drag, wasn't there?
yeah,
Um, but I mean, you see all
that's what
the
I
entrails
mean.
like dragging and stuff like that. I
Yeah,
don't know. It worked for me. That worked for me. I love the entire feel because the first one was very like this, right? It was like snow. It was very dreary. It was very suburban. And I love that this continued it before we transitioned into our cityscape and got like a last little taste of the snow in the suburbs and in this fucking trap house. Trap house was awesome. And they really had him doing a lot where it was like it felt like the middle scene to his own movie.
yeah.
That's why I thought he was going to get away. I thought he was going to be able to tell her what was going on or something. I guess I didn't remember him getting it in the first one, but I guess he saw her at the end, right?
He was, yeah, he's there
Lighting
with her
herself
when
on
it
fire.
happens. Yeah,
Okay.
like I think he's there when the monster appears. Like I think he's in the room, but he can't see it the way like
Yeah.
no one can. So it makes sense that he would get it. And I kind of like the idea of like I love when the like drug dealer's like bleeding out. And he's like, no, 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 don't die, because he like needs to pass it to the
Because I
guy.
need this. This is I've already
Yeah,
set this up, and this plan does. We don't get a redo here. We don't get to
yeah.
hit undo.
And like he
Um.
did pass it along though, because it went to
Yeah.
fucking Lucas Gage, and like it's like, man, he even did pass it along, but he still got smushed. Also, I am a little unclear of like, is it the ring rules where like you pass it on and then you're good? Like I would assume you pass it on, but you
I
still die.
think what's happening with these people is they're all because we haven't seen anything that would confirm somebody who's made it out or anything. I don't think we've seen anything like that. So I think
Right?
it's all
Yeah.
just kind of like throwing everything at the
Just being
wall and
like,
seeing
well,
what
let's see.
sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because these I enjoy that. I enjoy that in a second installment the characters still don't really understand how to beat this thing. They just know that they are at their wits' end and they're ready to do something to beat it. And I guess he had made it a little bit further along
Then
than
yeah.
she did, or he was still like in his early days of the curse, and she had made it too far that she wasn't really able to, by the time she like makes a decision in her mind, she's not really able to do anything about it. But like
Right.
it would have been really interesting to see her actually taking steps to try to fix it, because then we would have like had sort of two ideas of doing that in this one movie, passing it along by watching him kill somebody, right? That's one idea. And then her needing to stop her own heart. That would be another idea. But both of those were left so unfinished that
Yeah, yeah.
that would have been my only gripe, is like I want to see we have to further this, right?
Right. It can't just be, yeah. Because I do think like that, like again, my concern for a third one is one, it could get stale if we're doing the same thing.
Hmm.
And two, I don't want to post I just I
I
don't
don't want to
know,
watch this
like
again. I don't want to see the same thing.
yeah,
I do not like in a horror movie where you are constantly having to replay the okay, this person is going through this situation, they don't believe it, then they come to believe it, then they have to convince somebody else.
yeah.
Don't do that in a third installment. We're
Mm-mm.
That's why we need Sky Riley because she already knows. She's already believing it. And then she can link up with people who like then she could go on the internet and do a research
Right.
and link up with
Maybe
people in a
find an
Reddit
actual
group
guy
and
who,
like,
yeah.
figure it out with somebody.
No, I agree.
That's why
Yeah,
I
no,
like don't like, the Friday movies or, most of the nightmare movies. It's like it's because it's the exact same setup and you have to wait. You're like wasting time in the
yeah.
movie waiting for everybody to
And
finally come around,
I
you
don't need
know?
that. I don't need that.
Yeah.
I actually like usually don't like that. But like here it makes sense. But yeah, I just like that's yeah, I like I'm curious where they would go. But I don't know. This I don't remember. Was the opening to the first one, wasn't it just that woman going in the hospital and like killing herself in front of her?
Yes, because she was in therapy or something like that.
Yeah.
Um
And
and
there's a
she did
short
it
film
and
on that
it was the
character.
there was there? Okay. Yeah, see
Yeah.
the first movie almost feels like a short film to this movie. Because this one almost feels like the reset and is like, okay, this is when we really dive into it, but it's gonna be sort of the same things as the first one. The first one is like an example of somebody else who's been through it, you
Mm.
know? Because I don't know, I prefer this one. Like it makes it more fun because it's such a bleak concept anyway. And if we know that this is how it ends, then I do need it to be a little bit more fun. I need to see the pop
Yeah.
star world. I want to see the glittery costumes. I want to see Sky Riley looking so fucking cool as she's
I
going
think
through all of this.
I think the one thing you and I usually agree on is that we don't love a like fully bleak setting, tone,
I don't
look.
know. I usually am pretty great with the bleak. I like bleak. I
I
like
guess
things ending really
it's your
bleak.
critique of the first one is what I mean, that you felt like it
Yes.
was
Oh,
like,
yeah, 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 yeah. I think I don't even remember. I wish we did. We do an episode on this?
no.
But I remember texting with you
Yeah.
about it though, because I think we went to see it at the exact same time. We were like both in the theater at the same time. It came out around the same time, and we were texting about it, and both just had a real problem with like it just felt like there was absolutely no hope in this movie.
Yeah. And I
And
that
I th
like
Yeah,
that like I'm a hard sell on that just because it's like, okay, well then I'm just waiting for the person and I don't like I like to be able to feel like, oh, maybe they'll get away like we did in this one. Because if I'm just like, all right, well, like when I remember when we watched As Above, So Below, and I remember like doing our watch and me saying, oh, I don't want them to die, how everyone dies at the end of every
yeah,
found footage. Like I feel like they've been through enough. And then they did make it, and that was like a surprise. That was like a nice surprise.
yeah.
Um, so I feel like sometimes if you make it so bleak, it can be a surprise to be like, and one person made it, or and
Yes. And I think what differentiates the first one and this one is the first one did feel hopeless, and this one, well, it pretty much went the
well,
same
yeah,
way.
it tricked
I
us.
felt hope in the
Yes,
movie. I felt
she
like we
she
were
was fighting
gonna
for
we were
her
gonna figure
life.
something
Like,
out. At least that man was gonna walk away with some further knowledge that he was gonna pass along to the third one. But this motherfucker don't even is not even real.
like, does he exist? Yeah,
Probably not.
that like, yeah.
It felt
Also,
hopeful though.
it like weird. It's weird to say because it still is a bleak movie, but it did feel
Yeah.
like, oh, she's fighting. She's like gonna figure. She did not figure anything out, but
She's
like it
like, I've
felt
already
like
been
she
through
might.
shit. I'm gonna make it
Yeah.
out of this one. I'm gonna fight for my life, right?
And I even usually like this has a lot of things in it that usually like piss me off that I like. Like that. Remember, I mean, we both didn't like it, but in was it just called Texas Chainsaw, the Netflix one,
Yeah.
where it's
Texas
like
Chainsaw
this girl,
Massacre.
we keep going back to the fact that she survived a school shooting for what? Like,
They were just
I
trying to
don't
make her deep, I guess.
right, but I don't like when it's like this character is traumatized. And the like, what is the moral of that then? Like, well, it's still gonna happen again. You're all gonna die. Like, I don't like that. I'm like,
Yeah.
also because my will to live would be so low at that point when it's like, all right, well,
I still think in a movie like that, well, I didn't like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Movies like that, there's already hope sort of like baked in that there's gonna be hope. Like some of these characters are gonna probably make it out. There's,
I guess it's
I don't
like
know. Like there
I
are
need that.
specific movies that have that, but then this I think Smile was one of those movies that follows along with like and it follows. Like I fully expected it follows to like wipe through all of them. Like it was never
Right.
gonna get passed on. It was gonna like kill all of them.
And like they don't really defeat it, so it's like up in
It
the air.
doesn't,
Like,
yeah, like movies like this have a lack of hope that they have to create. They have to create
yeah.
the hope. And I
I
don't
do
know.
think that's like because I love It Follows, but that is a big problem when I was like, okay, but it's in the water, like it's not gonna die. Like I just kept thinking,
I'm just like drive around. That's all you can
yeah,
do is get in the car.
like I because I remember watching it and being like, but we know it can't die this way. So
Yeah.
like, and I love that movie, but like we had already been told by the movie the thing cannot be killed, and then they're like, we're gonna kill it by drowning it, and it's like, but are you?
But I do want to see them trying things, right? Like, so,
Yes,
like, even though it was in her mind, like, I liked to see them trying something. Maybe that's something that we're supposed to remember from this movie so they can take it into the next one. I want to see things being tried. Kyle
Gallner.
Gallner?
I don't know. You told me I always say names
I
wrong, so
already
now
knew
I'm
it,
like,
but
I don't
like
know.
now I can't remember it in my head. Did I ever know it along? No, I don't know. We saw him trying stuff at the beginning of this one. I just recently got done watching the Fear Street trilogy again. Fucking phenomenal trilogy of movies, by the way. Way too long. We're waiting on this next one. But in the first one, I noticed that they try to defeat this like monster like three different times in that
Yeah.
very first movie, and I really like that because we don't know what's going on with this thing. We are not really like able to do a quick Google search, and we got to try some shit out. So I do like when they do that. Like I feel like the
Yes,
first one they
I
weren't
agree.
really like trying anything, right? She was just kind of running, and it was just kind of
Yeah.
like situation after situation. And
No, I
this
agree.
one, I think the hope came from, well, let's just brainstorm. You know, how do we
And I
think?
mean,
Let's kill some drug
I
dealers.
I don't even remember how did she meet the like guy that gave her the I
He was
forget
her
how she even
dealer.
met. No. The guy that has the idea, the fake guy
Oh,
that
he's
has the
texting
idea.
her, which is
But
also how it could be like fake because there's just random text messages coming in. He says that
right.
he walked into
Oh,
the
right, the
drug
drug dealer's
dealer's
apartment.
house
Right,
and
right.
found her number. Yeah.
Okay, right. I couldn't remember that. That was like I couldn't remember how he got. But yes. Yeah. I think you're right that it like gives you a tiny bit of hope. So it felt like I don't know. I really was like, well, maybe she can make it some like I didn't think it was gonna be a happy ending, but I
I
thought
didn't think she
like
was going to make it, but I thought we were going to.
so what I think I would have preferred almost, and I know this is also bleak. I kind of would have preferred she killed herself to be like, fuck you, I'm gonna die anyway. I'm
That's
gonna do it
kind
on
of
my
what
own
I
terms.
think that's what I thought she was going to do because I thought that when they explained it and the guy says you have to like end your own life and do it before the monster does, and that way it takes the power away from the monster, which sounds like bullshit to me. It sounds like it still like kind of helps the monster anyway. Um, I was like, okay, well then she's probably gonna die. She's probably gonna do something like that, right? Like I kept going to like this penthouse that we have up in the
Her
highest part of
jumping,
this
yeah,
building.
yeah.
I'm like, she's gonna jump or something. Um, but I didn't expect her to make it out. But I liked her so fucking much in this movie that I'm like, shit. We don't even have to. Don't give us an answer then at the end. Don't give us an
Yeah.
answer. Let it just like let us figure out if this movie makes money. Which it's made a little bit of money, but it like definitely hasn't made as much as the first one did.
Oh, really?
I think the first one made over like it was like 217
They did
million, and this
something
one's
wild,
like
right?
at like
Yeah.
110 million.
It's a
Yeah.
bummer. This one's so good. No, I think I would have liked that better, right? Like if she was like, you know what? I can tell that I'm not beating this. So I'm gonna like and I don't even mean that in like a depressing whatever way, but like
No,
I think
but
I
that
would do
gives us
that.
something to
Like,
carry into the third movie. Because what do we really have to carry into the third movie?
right.
We have like some semblances of an idea of like how to maybe beat it or how to maybe pass it along, but we haven't seen anything work.
Yeah.
So it's and then what does happen? Like if she would have killed herself, what does show us what happens in a situation like that? Does the monster is that monster able to
Like
pass
jump.
down to somebody, or
Or
because
is it
even that if it does if she killed herself in front of somebody else and that monster still passed on because that person saw the death or whatever, that gives us an answer still that no, you can't do that.
right,
That
yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
help, but like we don't really have, you know.
But even all that aside, like I don't know, I just feel like there's something, and again, this sounds bleak, but there's something
Yeah.
empowering to be like, well, I know this thing is there's 100% chance of me dying because this thing is going to like murder me and it's a supernatural being I cannot do anything about. I'm gonna fucking kill myself. Like I feel like there's something like I would have felt better about it, which I know
Yeah.
sounds terrible. But you know what I mean? Like we knew she wasn't. If like
It's already a
if
bleak
there's no
series.
way,
It's already a
yeah,
bleak
like
series, okay? How what else are you gonna do? This movie was fucking bleak too. It was
yeah,
prettier, but it was still fucking bleak, you
yeah.
know? Um,
Yeah, and like I feel like I would have liked that better because I was thinking about that watching the movie. So I'm like, oh, but if she does kill herself and it is in front of someone, I guess it passes on. So I was like, all right, well, she has to like blow herself up in like the woods where no one can see her.
we just don't
Because I was
know.
like,
We
yeah, we
don't
just
know.
don't
And
know.
it
Yeah.
like took too long, but like this is also what really worked for this movie is that she dropping us into the story where we were, she really had no room for error. So when
Yes.
these things
Yeah.
happen to her, while some people may be like more inclined to believe, okay, something's happening. I have more time to figure it out because I'm recognizing it earlier. She puts it off so long just because she's like, if I crack, it is going to ruin everything. That it like creates such high stakes where we're watching her refuse to believe what she already knows is kind of happening. And we're like, girl, just like act on it. Fuck everybody else. Fuck these little kids coming to your concert.
Well, I like her mom says, I mean, before she fake murders her mom, and her fake mom in the fake dream says, you cannot cancel your concert because we will lose all of our money. And I know that there's like a part of that that's like, oh, she's a show mom, but like the mom was, that probably is correct, right? Like
Yes.
we will lose
Which
all of our
goes, oh my
money.
God, the layers are just so deep because like stage parents just in general um are putting the financial burden on your kid is not right in any shape, way, or form. But like they're both adults here. They're both we just don't know
Yeah,
what
it's
when it
actually, yeah,
started. We
yeah.
don't really know the like the history behind it. But still at the very end of it, your daughter has had a breakdown less than a year ago. Pretty fucking wild one as well. People have died, been car accident, pulled all her hair out, like all of this shit that she needs to heal from and you're still pushing her like that absolutely creates a villain in the mother, even if she is
But
coming
that was
from a place
fake.
of like survival. It is
But that
like,
was fake.
what do
Because
you
the
mean?
mom says that when they're in the hospital right before she kills her, but that's like
She didn't
fully
say
didn't
anything like
happen.
that at the beginning.
She like kept telling her, like, I need you to calm down. But that the one part where she's like,
Yes, I
no,
remember
is
that.
yeah.
I think
Because I feel
maybe
like
it's
the
context already filled in, like maybe
that's
myself,
fair. That's fair.
just knowing
I like
stage
that the
parents
mom
anyway.
wasn't full supervillain stage mom. Like she was like just kind of like,
Yes. But no,
you
I
know,
think so. I think so. I think because anybody who was paying attention could have recognized that she was not ready for something like this and the mom was still pushing this. There was I don't remember a point where the mom was like, if you're not good with this, let's just like, step back for a moment. I don't believe she was doing that, which still creates a villain in my eyes.
yeah.
Her like
I
weird
also love that
assistant too.
actor. She's in
Oh, yes, I love her.
she's
She was in
in
United States of Terror. She now
Mayor of
plays
Easttown.
Mayor of Easttown. She plays Aiden Shaw's wife most recently in the
Oh,
Sex and the City
really?
revival.
Huh.
Yes, she was only in like one episode, but I like that she was there.
And
Um,
then yes, you mentioned the gay assistant who is the boyfriend in Agatha All Along.
yeah, I didn't recognize that.
Oh yeah.
We didn't see him again, so he never like came back
Yeah.
after we watched the movie. Um, he was weird. I thought he was weird, and I every time he came on screen and she looked at him weird, I was like, "Girl, I see it too."
I
This
like that
is
you were like as
I
paranoid
was
as she
like, "There's
was.
something weird about him." He did nothing. He did nothing, but I got the vibe too. So
Well, when like she's yelling at him to be like, you messed up my room, and the mom's like, he was with me all day.
I'm like,
And she's
no,
like,
I
you
blame
don't
him
believe
too.
me.
I blame him too. There's something up. There's something up with him. I think he had a secret side plot where he was like an obsessed fan cutting off heads and stuffing them in her dressing room or
I
something.
also want to talk about Lucas Gage because I thought he was fucking fantastic too.
He was the drug dealer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is the guy who gets his butt eaten in White Lotus,
Easy.
to bring it back to White Lotus. Yeah. Um,
Hmm.
he I thought was really good. I was like reading something that when he like smushes his face, that like
Oh, I
that's
looked
like
away. I looked down. I
that's
couldn't.
like but it's like legit prosthetics. It was
Yeah.
like
Can't do
all
it.
like not. I
Can't
there was
do it.
I had to do the thing where my head's a little bit down, but I'm looking up
I
like a
wasn't
little
looking up
bit.
at all. I put my head down, let my hat kind of like fiddled with my thumbs a little bit,
Yeah, I
and
was like,
that's a kind of body horror that I know it's the same thing with like long legs. I don't like a nose, and same thing with Agatha. Also, when Rio like has no nose,
Yeah.
I can't do that. I can't do like an absent nose. There's something about it that like sinks deep into me.
Well, his nose was definitely absent.
Terrible, fucking
That
awful.
face was goo. But I thought he was really good. And I mean, I really like
And the
him,
little bit of
but
time that he had too, I thought
yeah,
he was like really fantastic.
because I
Really good.
liked
I
him.
just love people with a good falling apart face. Not like
Yeah,
not literally, but like the metaphorical falling
I
apart.
the whole time she was in his apartment, I was like, girl, he put a sword to you. Get
I
out.
kept thinking about her decisions. I was like, you're all over that. Your DNA is everywhere. You're here. What story were you gonna give to TMZ? What is what are you gonna do?
Because
She
like
she
I
had me
understand.
fucking stressed over her
Yeah, I
career.
was just like, this all feels like, even if there weren't a monster involved, it still feels pretty terrible.
Yes.
Like,
It's just not a it
but
shouldn't have been here.
speaking of looking away moments, I know we've been talking about this for a while, but the like I could not watch. I had to turn away when she is on that stage and just having a full-on
That's
meltdown
just a
with her
whole different
lipstick.
type of horror too.
It
It's not the body
is.
horror. It's not like it's when you saw Don't was it Don't Speak? The one that just came out recently with James McAvoy.
No, I didn't speak no evil.
Speak No Evil. Okay. That movie is full of cringe moments like this where
Oh
it's
yeah.
just like you feel so uncomfortable, you're sinking into your seat and you just can't feel you feel like you can't watch just because you feel like you're in this room during this uncomfortable situation. And because she is like again, this added layer that she is already falling apart and trying to keep it
Right.
together. And then she's like further falling apart because of this fucking monster playing tricks on her. I,
Like
the
she
whole like
oh,
gala, the whole
uh
gala, I just couldn't.
and like the fact that she walks out there with her lipstick already like
Nobody fucking told her. Nobody fucking, that's
ah
why I'm like, was that moment even real? Like, because that comes after the costume, you know? Um,
does it?
it does, yeah.
Hmm.
Because I think it's pretty early that she decides I don't want to wear this costume because you can see my scar.
Hmm.
Which
I
makes
think
me believe that she never told anybody that because the costume is still there.
hmm. I took it as like, well, the mom's like a show mom, so she's like, well, that's the costume.
Could be, could be. It's
Yeah.
they're giving us a bunch
Either
of stuff with
way,
no answers. Yes, the whole
my
gala was
my
fucking.
God, it's like every time she yelled, I'm like, just girl, get off stage, please. Just like walk off that stage. And then she fucking
When
throws
she says
Nana.
no, that wasn't even crazy. That was like a little cherry on top of the entire event. When she said her dead boyfriend's name in the middle of her speech, that is the moment. I I I couldn't leave the theater obviously because I wanted to watch it, but I'm like
Because
trying to
it's
force
like,
my bladder to need to like piss or something, some reason
right?
that I need to leave.
It's like every single person in this room thinks you're in. Like every single person at that gala is like, this woman is insane. She's talking about her dead ex-boyfriend, seeing him.
And
And
we
like,
and it's something that it's one of those moments that we all like mostly bit in is as you say something that you didn't mean to say, but you can't take the word back. You can't bring the word
right,
back from
yeah.
it. Like she catches it right at the end of that word
She
and she's like,
does. And like, it's just like, it's just like hit after hit after hit.
it
It's
is
like,
true horror.
the like when the teleprompter like the teleprompter and then seeing the dead ex-boyfriend and him being Jack Nicholson's son and doing a very good like the shining smile and like and then Nana tries to be like, are you okay, and she throws her on a fucking table
Oh
like,
my
ooh,
God.
I thought she was gonna accidentally murder that old lady is what I thought. I was like, oh God, please, did she not? Don't let her have killed
And
this
I'm
old
just like
lady.
screaming on the inside for somebody from her team to pull her off stage. And this is like super easy to explain away as well, but you have to cancel that tour. You have to like immediately go to the press and you have to be like,
She's
listen,
having a
we as her
psychotic
team
break.
pushed her to too far before she was ready, and we take responsibility for that, something like that, and we're getting her help now. And please just like let us have privacy. That is so easy to do. But the fact that they kept her going, like she was fucking normal and she was all healed already. On Drew Barrymore, I was ready
I
for Drew Barrymore to like be in her lap, like eye to eye. We didn't get that moment, but should have been there.
I listen. I always say Drew Barrymore interviews like I interview.
There's a moment in the Drew because Drew Barrymore is when we first see Sky, right? That's the
I
first
think
scene that
so.
she
I
is.
think so.
So
Yeah.
it switches from like Drew Barrymore's like morning show, camera, that whole look to like there's one shot that it switches and it's like
Yeah.
cinematic, and I thought that was like brilliant. So maybe that was the moment that everything was fake. Maybe Drew Barrymore was real, and then everything else is fake. We don't fucking know.
I feel like I also was like, oh, I bet Drew Barrymore loved doing this, right? Like, I bet
Oh
she was
yeah.
like, oh, I get to come back to horror. Oh,
Give
great.
her
Like,
okay. I feel like she could come back at any time. She needs to do something.
she
Okay,
would,
all these
right?
actresses need to go to work. Okay, it's time to work.
Okay, but to be fair, she is working. She has like a
No,
day
that's
job
not
show.
work. That's not
That's a
working.
lot of
No,
work.
no. I want movies, Sarah.
But
Okay.
but right, I bet Drew Barrymore was like ecstatic to do this. Like, I
Yeah.
bet she was so
Maybe
happy, and
she's
she,
next. Maybe she can be Smile 3. I would be fine with that. Let her do it.
I mean, it's like how we always say, put Tori Spelling in one of the new Screams, have her be the opening
Tori
kill.
Spelling
Like,
would love to do Smile
she
3, okay? She
would,
would
she
fucking love
would.
this shit. She would do anything y'all asked her to do. Okay? You realize that, right? What's the man who made this man? Parker Finn, okay? Tori Spelling, Sarah Michelle Gellar. What could Sarah Michelle Gellar be? How would she fit into like the Smile universe?
Oh, I feel like she would do the breakdowns really well. Like, I feel
Oh
like she would
yes.
nail that. Um, but I feel like,
She would do a lot of like putting her hair behind her.
yeah, it'd be, I mean, it'd be the same type of crying too, but
Mm-hmm.
that's okay.
I want something exciting though. No therapist, nobody working really in mental health or anything. I get this is a mental health series, very
I feel like,
overtly, but
yeah, I feel like she could be like a
like a cruise
Catherine
ship director,
Myrtle, but like as a like maybe like a politician. I feel like that could be
like
cool.
a rich woman who's taken her rich stepdaughter to see the Sky Riley concert in the front row or something, some crazy shit like that. Um, I don't know because I think the reason this one worked so well was because we did switch up the environment so much.
Yeah, no, I yeah.
So we have to do that for the next one.
Maybe they could do. I just my problem is that it has to be like post-apocalyptic where like the and I just don't want that, but like that's how we ended the movie. That like every person in that stadium and anyone
But
who was watching
the
it.
franchise is so maddening that they could just say it was something different, and
True.
we cut,
Could just be
and
like, oh no, only one person
it's
or
or she didn't even fucking kill herself. Then her
mm.
mom runs up and like tackles her to the floor or something. Or just give her an eye patch. Okay, she really did it. She really did some damage, but she's
Cinder
okay.
Harris survived and
She's
she can.
okay.
I did read Critical Overlord had posted about like apparently they like I'm not sure if they filmed them or like the original ending was a little bit more ambiguous as to what like the mom wasn't in the crowd, but the
Yeah, I
gay
loved that the
assistant
mom was in the
was.
crowd. Yeah,
I mean, for me that makes it worse because it's like, oh God, all of this like so I kind of like her being there because it's like, God, that's it's so much not that it's worse because her mom's alive, I guess, but like it's like, God, how long have we been like
yes.
has
I
it
think
been
that's my
fake?
biggest question is like how long what was real in this movie? I need somebody to answer me what was real. Um when she's in the hospital and she's supposed to be in rehab and then she kills her mom and then she's like needing to leave. I'm like all with her on that. I'm like, how are we getting out of this? What are we doing? How are we gonna
I was like,
escape?
you pull that gun.
When she
Yes.
has to get the gun, when she finally has the gun and everybody's staring at her, I'm like, it's balls to the wall now, right? Like they think you're crazy already. We go, okay?
Just
It's about
like
saving our life now.
yeah.
When Gemma disappears and she's back in the driver's seat, I'm like, we're gonna go off the bridge. We're gonna like, I don't know what's happening here.
Yes. Yeah. I was because like the moment where she like realizes that she granted it was fake, but like
Yeah.
that was a really like when she's like standing there with the glass and like her mother, I again, I love the movie. I thought sometimes the violence was like so over the top. It felt like when the mom's eye popped out, that felt a little cartoony.
A
Like it
little
was like
bit,
Looney
yeah.
Tunes. Like it felt like it was filmed for a 3D movie. It's like brrr at the screen. But that was still like a really good moment of her like looking at the glass in her hand and like her
And it was just moment after
disgustingly
moment
cut
after
up mother.
moment of
Yeah, it
that.
was
Yeah, it
like
was like you usually get one moment to do, oh, it was never
this didn't
real
let you
all
breathe.
along.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, well, was the reality real? Is
Right.
she even a pop star? Like she could was she she might not even be a thing, right?
I like that, like the smile entity gives her her dream career, but also kills her. It's like,
Some
well,
people
we'll let you
like,
have the cute
I would love
career.
that. I would love that. If you're going to
Would.
possess me, just like give me 7 days of delusions or something, you know?
I'm like, Zach and I are still recording, but he thinks he's in Mayor of Easttown. I don't know what's going on.
I loved her apartment setting. I loved all the scares in her apartment. Even the like really silly one of all the dancers are,
I
moving
did
and
like it.
dancing
Yeah.
along with it. I
It
was like,
was silly, but I
that's
liked it.
good. That's good stuff. It's good choreography. And
I thought the
I
stalker part did kind of scare me when because I like dark scares me when it's like she's like,
yeah, that
is he
did yeah, yeah,
there?
yeah.
And then he
Mhm.
runs really fast. That
That
like
was scary
did,
because I also
yeah.
didn't know which fans were actually real and who was seeing what fans. Did y'all see the little girl smiling at me like this?
Right. I was
Did
like, ask
nobody else
someone
see that? Because
because
then
she
this
took a
goes against the
picture.
rules of the monster.
Right.
So this can't be real.
I wanted to be like, show me that picture. Show me the
Show
picture you
me
just
the
took with that
picture.
child.
It's like you mean the selfie you wanted us to take
Yeah.
again? Like, um,
Because I was wondering about that because I guess we're supposed to assume that guy was, I think he was real, but like when he's in an apartment, he's not real. But like really a crazed fan did go to see
yeah,
her. And
yeah,
I think that is cool, right? That's something different because it's like, this is just a gross dude. It's not like a monster or whatever. It's just like a gross dude.
yeah.
And that's like, and he has like all that gross stuff on his skin that did look a little cartoony, but again, fine. He was gross.
I felt bad for him. I was like, I don't like people saying, that fans with skin problems are the fucking problem.
I it didn't really it looked like something from Star Trek. It did not look like
Oh,
a like, oh, just see it's got a rash. There used to be a woman who came into Barnes and Noble all the time that had like bright splotchy red marks on her skin and her skin would flake.
yeah.
Um and the worst thing was she would go like this on the counter to scrape it off sometimes if like she was being rung up.
Oof.
And that really like
That might
that
not
I'd
have
be
been
like,
real. That might
"Mm."
not have been real. Do
True,
you
it could have
know
been
if that
my
was
I'm
real?
still
Who
in
fucking
smile.
knows? Who fucking knows? When she's trashing her apartment, like throwing shit through the glass shower door, and
I know. I'm like, don't, no, girl. That apartment's so nice.
like,
Don't.
her mom better not walk in. Somebody better not walk into this apartment. I'm like, get your stuff and get out of there. Get your
Yes.
toothbrush. Let's go. We're
Just
on the
go.
go. We're on the go.
Yes. We need to keep going.
Yeah.
I forget. Doesn't who is it that pops up in the bathroom?
Oh, I don't remember. See, I want to watch it
Is
again.
it
I
Lucas
need to watch it
Gage?
again.
Because he pops up a lot of random times, and I do like that.
I like when he popped up behind her in the mirror,
Yeah, and like, I mean, even though
stuff
we
like
saw it in the
that.
commercial, I like that. Yeah,
It was good. It was effective. I don't know. Yeah, I think it was just a brilliant backdrop of
yeah,
somebody who's already on the fringes, and everybody's got an eye on her. And if she messes up, she ruins everything. And so like the stakes just are. I don't know how you do that better,
right. Yeah,
with another scenario.
yeah. I do feel like it will be even if they don't go the route we don't want. Even if they're like, no, we're not going post-apocalyptic. I still think this will be hard to top. Like, I think it'll be really hard to
This
top
is
this.
probably going to be the best that they're going to do. Oh,
I
give
think
them
so.
credit though. They created a fantastic movie. I give them credit. They could totally come up with a great third one. I just think like with somebody like that who is in such a position of power, she has so many people that are just linked to her that normal people don't have. So when you have a normal person story, there's not a lot of people linked to you like that.
Right.
There's not a lot of people who have their eyes on you and stuff. And it's just, yeah. Again, what do you even do? What does Sarah do when this next one that we're gonna cast her in, right?
When she is a senator with daughters that went to the Sky Riley concert. Because I feel like that's like the only I don't know because we can't go back to like a regular person. We gotta go bigger, and I don't know
Yeah, the
what
president. The president does it on national TV because everybody's gonna watch that, and then who fucking knows?
Chucky would be so mad. um, but yeah, no, I love that our first movie back discussion is us just
We had to talk about
aggressively
this one.
agreeing. No, but
We
I
had
love
to
when
talk
we're
about this
agreeing.
one because it was like so recent too. Because we wanted to talk about the substance too, but it's already been out a little bit, so we're gonna have to circle back around to that.
I was gonna say we are still circling back to that, right?
Yes, we
Yeah.
are doing the substance, of course. Yes, I do feel a little gatekeepy about the substance as well. Like I was a little bit irked seeing everybody with their substance Halloween costumes. I'm like, y'all have not supported Demi Moore like I have supported Demi Moore. Okay, have you read Inside Out? I don't believe you have, bitches.
My mom read that.
I loved it. It was fantastic. It's one of my favorite memoirs.
That's one where she like kind of is like naked and the hair's blowing, right? I think I remember when that came out of Barnes and Noble.
The no, I
No,
think
what
I
am I
have it.
thinking of?
I have it somewhere in this room.
Oh no, it's black
No,
and
it's
white,
just black
right?
and white. Yeah,
Yeah, never mind.
it's a small read. It's not real short.
It's somewhere in this house. I know my mom read that in the Selma Blair book, and she was like, "Oh, I think you'll like these ones."
I didn't
But
read the Selma Blair one. Don't know if I will read the Selma Blair one at this point.
yeah, yeah, fair.
Goodness, girl, I should have just stuck with your cane. That
God.
out. Yes,
Yes,
10 out of
please do.
10. 10 out of 10. You know what? 9 out of 10 movie. But Naomi Scott, 10 out of 10 actress.
I think I would do 9 out of 10 too, just because like that end, like
I need more room. I don't want just a repeat. I need
yeah,
places to go with this. Like, you got to give
yeah.
me information or answers or something to take into the third one.
And I mean, for both of us to be that like in agreement about how stressful and good, like I feel like I mean, we generally agree, but like not like so much. And I
It's
feel like,
fantastic. Fantastic
yeah,
movie. Fantastic movie. Fantastic movie. Fantastic movie. Naomi Scott. My gosh. The way she was styled, too. Like, we love, and I'm going to keep calling her a final girl because, we did not see her dead. We didn't see
we
a body
did see, we
bag.
literally
We didn't,
saw her
we
dead.
saw her eye damaged. Okay. The microphone in her eye socket. It's gonna really hurt, but she'll be okay. Um, my final girl, Sky Riley, is still alive. I love her haircut. I love her like bleached hair. I love all of her entire style was so good, and it was so like
Yeah.
grungy, but it like costs a shit ton. Boss water all throughout this fucking movie.
And that shit's expensive.
Expensive. Is
Like,
that's a glass bottle, isn't it?
yeah.
Hmm.
I every time she chugged one, I was like, but that's so expensive.
Yeah,
Like,
the
just
apartment
savor that.
setting was really great. It was
Yeah.
like it added a lot. I wish they would have played with neighbors a little bit more. But I guess like her apartment is so big that you're not gonna hear your neighbors or something.
Yeah. And it's probably like most of that floor. Like, probably not like maybe there's one or two more, but
Yeah,
not.
that's what I like about apartments though, is that you do have your neighbors and you can play with neighbors in horror movies. Um,
I mean, I will say, like, when I lived in New York, when I moved back here to the suburbs, and this didn't happen a lot, I found myself, I get way more easily scared here than I would living in New York. 'Cause living in New York, it's like there are people on either side of these walls
mhm.
that like I can sometimes hear, and that like, or
Makes you feel
people
better.
outside, and it
Yeah,
made me feel like, in my Astoria apartment, because it was longer and we thought we had a ghost, I would get a little creeped out in the pitch black, but I just turn on a light and it's fine.
there you go. It's okay. Sure,
So
whatever.
what? Who cares?
But yes, let us know what y'all think of Smile 2. Is that all we have for it? I feel like we
Yeah.
have we just gushed over it. We just love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. I wish it would have made more money because this was the superior Smile movie. So I
It
get
was.
that everybody hyped it up for the first one, but this was the one they all should have gone to see.
I really thought this movie did well. I saw nothing but good things about this
I feel
movie.
like it
Like I
made
didn't
money. It had to have made money, but
right, but just
like
not
I don't
like
know.
because I
Yeah.
do remember, yeah, I remember that first one being like it broke right, and it had like a small budget too, which was like a big deal too, right?
What year was that? That wasn't 2023. That
I
had
was
to have been
working at
22,
Ranker.
right?
I I think worked at Ranker. My mom was still alive.
Oh, well.
I don't know.
Before
Put that
last year.
put that in a time. Yeah, put that in a timeline
Oh my
somewhere.
God, me and Ian just realized that the night his mom died, we watched the movie Warm Bodies.
It sounds I so when I
In
tell
the
this,
moment, it truly we did not put this much thought into it.
it was just like, what can we turn our brains off to? Zach was a very good friend, and it was like I think it was my idea too, because I read that book and I had seen the movie. I was very charmed by it the first time I saw it. Second time I was like,
Yeah,
oof, it's
I don't
pretty
like that
dumb,
movie.
but it was like a good movie for what we needed. I think because it was like we could just like make fun of it. It was kind of stupid. It wasn't like intense or serious.
Hmm.
But yeah, then like being like, oh, I saw my mother's
Having
dead
to tell
body, and
people.
then came home to watch a movie called Warm Bodies with my best friend.
Fucking awful.
Not great.
Fucking terrible. Truly
God.
never thought about it till tonight. Let us know what you thought of Smile 2. What would you rank it? And tell us all about how much you love Sky Riley and Naomi Scott in this movie. And Naomi Scott, like, they're not going to appreciate you in this movie. We'll give you a whole franchise, okay? Come to Ian and I. We'll create a franchise all the way around you because we know you can do it.
listen, she can do this and she can do action star because she's the Pink Ranger in the Power Rangers movie that I love. It's so stupid and campy. It is fun camp.
Do you think she could do Laura Croft? She could be a Laura Croft.
Oh, she totally, yeah, mixed horror and that. Like, I feel
I
like there's
did
like,
love the Laura Croft we had a couple years ago that they never gave us the sequel to.
oh, I
But
never saw, I wanted to see it, but I never saw it.
they just didn't give her the guns fast enough. She needed the guns.
Mm.
She had like a
I
bow and
watched
arrow.
because I think it was either the video game came out after that, like modeled more after that, or the movie was modeled after.
The movie was
There
modeled
was
after the video game.
but the newer one, because there was a newer
Yes.
one that
It's
okay,
like when
so
they like reduced her chest size
right,
and
yeah,
yes.
and made her look like more realistic.
Yes. I think that happened when I was in high school because I remember all the boys like really upset over that.
I watched Kevin play that game because it was like
Mhm.
it was actually a pretty cool game. I remember watching him play it through because it was like I think in the game it's like she's on an island. It's a little bit lost. It's a little bit like Lost where it's like there's
Yes.
like
And there's like a plane. She's gotta like
yeah,
escape the plane and stuff like
yeah.
that. Yeah, yeah. I liked
Um
it. I
yeah, and I
liked the
liked
movie a
watching him
lot.
play the game and I thought it was what was it, Alicia
Vikander or
Vikander?
something like that.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah, yeah. She was really great at it. She was
I kind of want to see
fantastic. I
that.
wish they would have done another one. But Naomi Scott, you know what? Let's reboot it. Sure. Why not?
And I feel like if we're doing it, we're gonna add a little bit of horror and it's gonna have a little spookiness.
Yeah.
A little
No, she
bit.
needs two franchises. She can have Tomb Raider, and we're gonna do a horror franchise for her. What would we put
Okay.
her in? What can she be in? Um,
Because I
I need
feel like,
something
especially
good.
with Sky, I mean, again, she was the Pink Ranger. The Pink Ranger can fight, but like with Sky, she had a lot of fight in her, and I
Yeah.
feel like you and I would make use of that.
If she was just slightly younger, she would be a great Sydney Prescott daughter.
Yeah, I guess like the ages don't really line up.
Because I think she's 32, which is like
Yeah.
we can stretch it, but we can't stretch it that much, right? We're already stretching it with Sydney's daughter's age, I think. I think she's
Well,
supposed to be like 15 or 16 in this
and
movie. And
because we saw Sydney like older, like she had to have had the kids between 4 and 5, and like
well, if they go with like 15 years old, I think that still overlaps with Scream 4, which means she had just never brought up her daughter in Scream 4 and had a young daughter.
but I'm okay if it's like a year or two. Like I don't that's
Honestly, I don't even care. Don't even care. Whatever. But yes, okay. So we will talk to you all later. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
bye.